live? Yes, it appears so. Please forgive a picture. I'm just making sure that this is going to work. Yeah, it seems to be managing, barely. I've got an extended Wi-Fi network that is using several different routers to expand the signal across my whole house, so I should in theory have free run. Be kind of nice. Added a little watermark to the video. In theory, there should be a chat window there as well if anybody logs into the my Twitch chat, but that doesn't do any good here. So there won't be anything displayed there right now. I'll work on trying to integrate the YouTube streaming chat at some point. I'm just talking at the moment as I think about what I'm going to do. From the video description, you can tell that I'm about to go explore the Cave of, well, I call it the Cave of Wonders, but it's more the Cave of random old crap lying around. I've got my cell phone set up to act as a camera. It's a 4K camera, so it's actually pretty decent quality, and the mic's decent enough to do narration and such. There's about 30 seconds of audio lag, so what you see on the video happens a few seconds before the audio. I'm using OBS, and unfortunately the way that it does browser media source for audio, it has a buffer of about 1 megabyte. And I can fix the audio lag by broadcasting the audio in uncompressed wave, but I don't have the network bandwidth to do that. I've only got about 30 megabits to work with because of the, the sheer distance between a couple of the access points. But in theory, I can go down into the garage and stream from there to my much faster video editing workstation, which is capable of keeping up with the frame rate. The phone, combined with the network utilization, getting a lot of drops, but the computer itself isn't dropping any frames. Nice and solid. It's got a much better network connection. So it's going pretty quick. I've also got the bandwidth down pretty low on the stream end of it, so it's not going to be the best quality stream, but it'll work. It'll do the trick. So I'm going to go ahead and take off my headphones and head on down to the random pile of crap. You can see what I mean by it's gotten out of hand. Also got to grab my standard energy drink. The reason I have the camera covered is my room is a mess, and I'm not showing off my room right now. I'm going to get back to doing the Laserdisc videos soon enough, but nobody seemed really interested in them at the moment, so I kind of lost interest in doing them. That's how it goes. I gotta be quiet now, my brother's sleeping. Or maybe he's just watching memes. What are you talking now? I'm live streaming. I have the camera covered currently, but going out in the garage. Alrighty. Soon I shall be late. The question is, do I have the camera the right way up? Yes, I do. Excellent. And I actually have a viewfinder on here, and I can turn on the flashlight. Oh, hey, Batman. Batman, the Batcat, the star of the show. Meow. Alright, looks like we're connected. I've got really good Wi-Fi signal here because the The airport's right there. And for anybody bitching about the airport, I want you to go ahead and take a look. Let's see, there's a Mac there. There's a very, very, very special Mac here. I'll explain that later. I don't know if I can get it in the angle because the scrapper I bought it from, well, let's just say that he removed the sticker. As is required, that's their policy. They can't sell anything. Well, they do it, but something is recognizable as Valve Corporation. They can't. But shoot, I've got it set for infinite focus, so I don't know if I can get it. But you can actually see the residue, in the residue, the outline of the Valve logo. But the void makes it really hard to see it. All right, I'll take a picture and upload it as the screenshot, maybe. But this is a custom-built Power Mac G5 that my best guess is it was used to develop the short-lived PowerPC Steam client. I think it was only in beta. I don't know if it was ever publicly released. But there were several universal binary games that were released through the Steam client. It came stock with the 7800 GT graphics card, which that's not how it comes. Let's see if I can, yeah. Let's see if I can get this to focus. No, it won't focus. Dang it. But this thing, Power Mac G5 dual core 2.3, 2 gigabytes, 250 gigabyte hard drive, super drive, and the GeForce 7800 GT right there, silk screened. That wasn't even, as far as I've been able to research, wasn't even an option. This also has a heatsink that covers both CPU sockets on this motherboard, and it also has the 2000 watt power supply that requires the C19 plug, which was not standard on the single processor dual core last gen G5s. But I'm really happy. I finally have a last gen G5, and it cost me $10. And I ended up having to destroy the damn pin when I tried to get in there. The reason I tried to get into the CPU was I can't power it on to test it and see what it is. But I've talked with a couple of people on some Discord servers and on a couple of forums, IRC chat. Heck, I even got into Usenet looking for somebody who might have known something about this. And I can't say anything with any certainty, but I have heard rumored that you could, in fact, get a Quad 2.3 air-cooled from Apple. I can't confirm that. That's just a rumor. As soon as I can get my hands on a C19 plug, we'll know for sure on this particular unit. This was obviously a custom built-to-order unit because it came with the 7800 stock, which that's not a stock part. It was an upgrade-only part. So it must have... well, it was a BTO. It wasn't a standard unit, which is cool all in itself. I love it when I get BTOs. I have several of them, actually. I have the infamous mid-2010 Mac Pro server, the 8-core 16-thread monster that I use for my video editing. I got that for, what was it, $30? This thing was $5. It's a dual 1 gigahertz G4. My favorite Mac computer. I just recently got an upgraded graphics card for it that I need to put in it. But first I need to modify it so it fits. Right here, it's I believe it's a 9650 LE. Is it this one? No, that's just my 9600, I believe. Yeah, it's just the standard 9600. Here it is. These are really hard to come by. This is from the first generation top-end G5. It's the 9650 LE with ADC. And my second generation G5, my workstation G5, actually has the ADC connector on the motherboard, so it would be able to use this. I'm really looking forward to being able to do that. I just need to get around to modifying this. I'm going to go ahead and do a permanent mod on it. Oh wait, what am I talking about? I'm not putting it in my G5, I'm putting it in my G4. Or was I going to put it in my... You know, I still haven't decided. That's right, I haven't decided. I'm talking like it's a definite thing, but no, I haven't decided whether I'm going to put this in the G5 or the... Well, you know what? That's because I didn't have this yet. Yeah, this is going to go in the G4. I'm going to mod it. So, since I'm going to put it in the G4, I'm going to permanently mod it by cutting a couple of traces. Once again, this is set for infinite focus, so it doesn't focus up close. I need to change that in the settings. Maybe set it to a manual focus or something. Yeah, that oscilloscope does not work. I have another oscilloscope I can get, but I need to get my hands on $100. And it's a 100 megahertz oscilloscope. It would be the only oscilloscope I'd need, but I don't have the cash. Of course, you can see my Patreon link in the watermark if anybody feels like donating. If you don't, that's perfectly fine. I record these videos because otherwise, what's the point of even collecting this crap? It's just... Not sponsored, I just love this stuff. It's just... I like to save this stuff from the scrap heap, but if it just sits here and only I look at it, what honestly is the point of even collecting it and saving it from the scrap heap? I mean, if it's not going to get used, it's not going to get enjoyed by somebody, what's the point? This is going to be an interesting video. I'm going to do a restoration on this Model M. If you look, it's hardly yellowed at all. I mean, I actually honestly cannot believe just how unyellowed this thing is, considering where I found it. It was buried in a pile of boxes of books, stored in an outdoor pile in a grassy field. The only thing wrong with it is just missing the insert keycap. But listen to this. It's such a glorious sound, that collapsing spring Model M keyboard, and it's pre-Windows 95, so it has no Windows key. But it's a PS2 model, not an AT model. This particular one was manufactured in October of 94, the 10th of October to be specific. So this was manufactured 15 days before my 9th birthday. And I was using these kind of keyboards right around that time in school. We had just gotten PCs in the computer lab. The guy who ran the computer lab was tired of upgrading the Macintoshes. Apple was just starting to do the whole let's do the make upgrades more expensive, or make people upgrade, because of it was basically Mac OS X, and then version 1 of OS X came out and nothing worked with it, and then you had 10.1, you had a few things that worked with it. 10.2, basically everybody abandons the old version of Mac OS X as soon as the new version comes out, something I'm constantly wrestling with, even with my 2010 Mac Pro. I still have the stock graphics card in it, so it's not capable of running Mojave, and of course Catalina just came out, so I'm totally screwed. I've officially given up trying to keep up with Macs. I mean, I get these things for 10 or 20 bucks at a out of a scrap pile. I am the last stop in the chain before this stuff gets thrown into a giant shredder and melted down into its constituent parts. So it's passed hands so many times by that point that they're willing to let it go for dirt cheap, because otherwise it's getting sold for 50 cents a piece. Me paying $5 is 10 times the normal rate, so I get tons and tons of amazing stuff. I mean, look at this. This is what I mean by the Cave of Wonders. I have so many subjects for videos here. Anybody watching, I'd appreciate you sharing the video I'm going to try to share it around. If I can get a few people watching who spot something interesting that they would like to see a video on. Because I have things here that I have not seen any mention of on YouTube. So there might be some interesting original content to be had here. I mean, at the very least, you could watch somebody installing WordPerfect version 6 off of 5.5 inch or 5.25 inch floppies onto a absolutely gorgeous little turbo button included, original, unmodified, untouched, as it was when it was built, 486 DX266 with double speed CD drive. That works, by the way. Both floppy drives work beautifully. It's got Windows 3.1 installed, and I installed SimCity on it, and it works like a dream. And it has a reversed turbo button, so pushing it in runs it fast, pushing it out runs it slow. It does not have an LED. That's the only thing wrong with this particular gorgeous little system. I'd love to do a whole video on this, including a video about completely redoing it and upgrading it, because Iraq conflicts are preventing me from doing any DOS gaming. Stuff works fine in Windows, but it has a second sound card that it uses as the CD controller card because the built-in Sound Blaster won't drive this for some reason. Don't ask me why. But that's a whole video right there. And this is a whole video. Just this is pre-built. It's never tested, but it's guaranteed working. I got it for $10 with all the bells and whistles, maxed out RAM, or well, half maxed out RAM. This will take up to 2 gigs, I think, or 1.5 gigs. But you know, lots of RAM, a decent sized hard drive with OS X pre-installed. Be nice just to see what it looks like when it's running, you know. Like this, I'd like to get this one fixed. I've got another G3 tower over here with a broken faceplate that I ended up stealing from a G4. Although I might have to steal that from there because I have a G4 with a broken faceplate. You know, just parts everywhere. But that one actually has a, I think it's an Otherworld Computing 550 megahertz G4 upgrade. So it's basically a sawtooth. What the? I pushed the wrong button. There we go. Gotta be careful with this stinking thing. But I've got 2 PlayStations to rebuild, and I have a stock, unupgraded, original PlayStation 3 that is still capable of installing other OS. If I can get my hands on the damn install files, that is going to end up becoming a file server running, well, an older version of Debian, but I'll manually backport several packages. This is an honest-to-God Apple Studio display. And this is a working 23-inch cinema display. Or, sorry, I flipped those. This is a studio display. This is a cinema display, I think. I always get those mixed up. Whatever. That's my box of keyboards. This is my box of current projects, like this motherboard I'm trying to do something with. I don't know what yet. I've got my DV400 SE iMac. My favorite iMac ever. It's 450 megahertz, I believe. It's got a DVD drive in it, / CD burner. Best little educational software machine ever, because the CRT makes everything run beautifully, and you can scale it to whatever size, and it's just, and the mouse is so responsive on it. It's just ridiculous. And that is the power supply that's currently in my workstation computer. Very good, dirt cheap power supply. This was 20 freaking bucks. But it's an EVGA, and I've been running it for about 1.5 years, and I've been overclocking the absolute living hell out of my i7. And this thing keeps up with the GTX 780, which is a fairly power-hungry card, especially with the overclock I got it running on. But this is one of my most anticipated projects. I'm missing literally everything, but look at these keys. They're just an amazing shape. There's a little yellowing on the print, but I've got a method of fixing that. The breadboard itself is the color it's supposed to be. This is just gorgeous. It's cracked here, and then there's another crack over here, but I can fix those with just some super glue, maybe even a blowtorch. I can probably melt it back together fairly easy. The big problem is the escape button is broken off, so I've got to find a replacement escape button and resolder it onto the contacts on the board, or I'm probably going to do a electric switch rather than trying to track down a mechanical. But the board itself looks to be in absolutely gorgeous shape. All the caps are pristine. There's no capacitor leakage on it at all, although several of the shield solder points have come loose. There's a lot of nasty flux around them, but it's just in gorgeous shape. It's the best looking C64 internally I've ever seen, and it was $5. I mean, you can't beat that price on a C64. I don't know whether it's an NTSC or a PAL. I haven't bothered looking into it because I can't do anything with it because it has no escape key. I have no power supply because the VIC-20 and the Commodore 64 use different power supplies, of course. I don't have a tape drive. I don't have a data set. I don't have a disk drive. I don't have a hard drive. I don't have cartridges. I don't even have a joystick. They offered me a joystick with it. I didn't take it. I'm an idiot sometimes, but yeah, so this is one of my most anticipated projects, but I have absolutely nothing to get started with it. I've wanted a C64 my entire life. I've never been able to own one. It was always just out of my reach. And I finally got one, and I can't do anything with it. It's the same thing with the dual-core G5. It's like I finally got one, but I can't do anything with it because I don't have the C19 plug. And I'm not going to break down and order it off of eBay. I'm going to wait until I find one. That's my rule. I don't order anything off of eBay unless it's absolutely necessary. Like to build this retro PC down here, which I'm going to do a whole video on, the perfect retro PC. Well, almost perfect. I need to put a Voodoo card in it. I need a Voodoo 2. And then it'll be perfect. Because currently it's got a Radeon 9800 XT in it, the legendary 9800 XT. One of the most powerful cards for Windows 98 that actually has full driver support for Windows 98 games, with the exception of fog table support. It has no fog table support. But it's not very strong in OpenGL. It's sufficient to run any game that would run on Windows 98 at 60 frames per second. Absolutely every game. It even does DOS games exceedingly well. Although I've been having a lot of trouble getting the Audigy 2 card to play nice with DOS. I need to boot up my other system, which has a working Audigy 1 with DOS mode drivers installed, and copy the settings. That's the only thing left, and I can't find the settings on the internet for some reason. But I have working settings. I just haven't gotten around to actually doing anything with it. Like an idiot. Anyways, this is going to be a fun video. This is a project for a customer. It's going to be a media PC. I've already upgraded it, maxed it out. It's got 8 gigs of RAM, a dual-core Core 2 Duo running at 3 gigahertz, the E8400, and I've put in a digital analog combo tuner that also has S-video input. So they're going to be able to hook up their DVD player and their cable box output into this and have a DVR. The hard drive that's in it is not the hard drive that's going in it. That's just my testing hard drive. This is getting an 80 gig hard drive because the files are not going to be stored on this. This is going to be purely a network device. It's going to have 80 gigs for transcoding temp space because none of the files will ever be big enough to fill that up. And it's going to be wired with a little USB. It's going to be directly wired into the port 2 on the Power Mac that's acting as the file server. And then it's going to use Wi-Fi to connect to the extended wireless network, and using a Jellyfin server to allow every media device in the house to access all of their music, movies, and photos. It's going to be really cool. And the best part is this little computer only costs $40. This was the first attempt. I bought it, I set it up, it worked, I plugged it in, it fried. And trying to replace the power supply in one of these is an exercise in futility. And it's only a single-core Athlon 64 anyways. So this dual-core running at 3 gigahertz with 8 gigs of RAM is going to be a much better deal. Much better at its job. And let's see. Oh yes, my Sony Trinitron multi-scan. Absolutely love this monitor. Best monitor ever. I had one monitor that was better, which was a 30-inch Trinitron. The thing weighed 250 pounds, probably cost well over $1,000. Probably closer to $5,000 now I'm thinking about it. But honestly, I don't remember where we got it. Anyways, got my my Beats Special Edition touchscreen HP Envy X23 thing that I got for $20. The touchscreen's pretty nice. This is my most recent project. It's a 450 megahertz Pentium 3, so basically the slowest Pentium 3 you can get. It's a Micron Millennium, so it's kind of a interesting historical piece all on its own. The floppy drive needs to be replaced, which is unfortunate because it's a proprietary floppy drive. Only the bottom CD drive works, not the top one. The bottom one's an 8X, the top one is a 1X. As you can see, there's some capacitor leakage from this leaking down onto the top of that one I need to fix. But I found a GeForce 4 MX440 PCI card that I popped in here, and this little sucker's got game now. It didn't before, but now it does. So that's why it's here. This is won't burn. Yes, if it's in my possession, there's a strong possibility it will burn. I tend to catch things on fire. And one of the reasons that I tend to catch things on fire is really simple. Where did I? Yeah, there it is. Hey, Batman. That is my preferred soldering iron. It literally uses fire. Ah, yes. My little hutch. The server. Need to get an adapter and a keyVM switch, and then I'll be able to run the Power Mac too. Alright, I've got my little Magnavox video writer. I absolutely love this thing. It's just so cool. And I've actually got the computer that goes with this, and the keyboard and the mouse. I believe I've got the keyboard right here, but not the mouse. The mouse, I didn't go with the mouse for some reason. Went with a compact just to get completely screwy. Look at that thing. 1985. Anyways, that's probably a good place to end this for now. The fam damnly's starting to file in, so I'll end this, and there'll be a black screen for a few minutes while I run upstairs and end the stream.